Did I scare you right there? Did I scare you right there at the start right there? Hello everyone, it's Imran here. Welcome back to another video. So today welcome to, well, first of all, welcome to the 1st of October 2010, the first day of Spooktober. We are now in the Halloween month. Halloween is one of my favorite times in the Thomas and Friends community. It is because of all the horror stories that, spooky stories that come out during this time, and I get to react to them. I do for you guys. So what better way to start off Spooktober than react to a spooky audio story by Narrow Gauge, which is called A Tenderless Night. So yesterday, a few days ago, the last audio story I reacted to from Narrow Gauge was Black Wheels. So you want to see much that out, have it up in the top right corner of your screen. I just thought I might just make this the only video I react to tonight. So because it is quite late and I kind of want to do other stuff, but yeah, I figured what this story actually came back out on August 23rd. It did, but given the fact that it's Halloween, I figured I'd save it for this month though with Spooktober, because Spooktober I like to react to a lot of spooky type of stories. I do, and it's actually the first in a possible series where, using a spinning wheel, the challenge is to make a story starring whichever two characters the spinning wheel lands on. And for this one, it landed on. This one is Percy and Douglas. It is. So, yeah, it's From what I've seen from some sort of comments on this video, it's not overly creepy, but it's still a spooky story. It is, because Percy and Douglas are sent to work at the Smelters yard. So, yeah. I mean, it's really good to see Percy and the Scottish and interacting with the Scottish twins, like how dynamic worked in the season 6 episode Percy and the Haunted Mine. So, yeah, I still think that this is going to make for a good audio story, regardless of whichever two characters it stars on. And yeah, and Narrowgate says he wants to try this a bit more. So yeah, I'm interested to see what characters we get to see pairing up in his audio stories in the future. Link for them reacting to in the description down below as always. So without further ado, let's waste any more time and get straight into the first spooky Thomas reaction of Spooktober 2025. I'm reacting to this at night as well, but I have the light on obviously because for quality reasons. So is this going to show us the spin? Let's see. Who's it going to land on? Douglas. And there it is, Percy. So Douglas and Percy get the spotlight in A Tenderless Night.
Douglas was feeling glum. The Fat Controller had told him to go and work at the Smelters yard. Apparently, the Ironworks twins were overwhelmed and needed some extra pairs of buffers.
Okay.
Percy had also been tasked with going there, which Douglas took some relief in. He knew the little green engine was good to work with, but all the same, he wished his twin could come as well. He had asked as much, but the Fat Controller denied it. "I'm afraid Donald's still needed on Duck's branch line," he had said. "The two Western engines can't manage alone at the moment." So, with great reluctance, he had set off on his own.
At least we have a story where the
On the
Scottish
way,
twins aren't together.
he thought he could hear a strange rattling sound from behind. The source seemed to be somewhere between himself and his tender. His driver noticed it too. "Sounds like something's up," he remarked. "We'll check it once we reach the Smelters." Douglas sighed. His destination was bad enough. He certainly wasn't in the mood for something else. Percy wasn't all that thrilled either.
Obviously.
Going to the Smelters, for him, felt like an undeserved punishment. He sat outside the entrance waiting for Douglas. Harry and Bert had rolled up in front of him to do what they considered as welcoming him. "Hello,
Harry and
little
Bert.
Percy," Harry smirked. "So kind of you to join us. Your metal will make a very fine addition to our scrap collection."
Please
"Oh,
don't.
give it a rest," Percy
Don't.
groaned. "If you're going to make jokes, at least come up with something new." "Who said we were joking?" "Well, for your sake you better have been," came a voice. The twins perked up as Douglas stopped alongside Percy.
Mhm.
"Well, I'll be," Bert remarked. "Not every day we get a tender engine. That's almost double the amount we could make." Thinking of pulling a move on me?" Douglas huffed. "You can't even manage your own yard by yourselves. Not surprised by how sluggish you two are. We're more than capable of handling
Yep.
this place," Harry snapped.
You too sure about that? Because you clearly looked overwhelmed, and that's why the Fat Controller sent for these two to come and help you. Because clearly you guys clearly can't handle the work on your own, or cannot be trusted. Maybe that's why. Big brain moment right there.
"And yet here we are to help out," Percy replied, wanting to join in with Douglas's comeback. The twins felt insulted. Having nothing more to say, they rumbled away. Percy and Douglas exchanged a look of satisfaction, but also they saw that they shared the discomforts of their current environment. "Glad it's not just me," Percy murmured. "Aye, same here," Douglas said, "but I know we can get through it. Shall we show those two nuisances how it's done?" And with newfound confidence, Percy smiled in agreement. As day turned to evening, the two steamers bustled about the yards. They tidied up sidings and shunted heavy loads of scrap into the sheds. Percy was familiar with the sight. He had been to the smelters before with Thomas and Duck. To
Scary Engines
Douglas,
reference.
it was all new. He watched with anxiety as large grabbers lifted up piles of scrap and dropped them into a melting pot. His driver had checked him over earlier and found the source of the
If there's one fear everyone fears going to on Sodor whenever you're a steam engine or a human being, it's the smelter's yard. The smelter's yard is the one place everyone on Sodor fears going to. I'm pretty sure it's a place everyone like everyone in the Thomas fandom, like me personally, feel fear going to. I don't know why I said feel right there. Fear going to the scrapyard, obviously. I mean, no one would want to go to the smelter's yard, particularly on your own at night, because boy, oh boy, it can be very, very creepy. It can.
rattling. "It's your tender coupling. It's come a bit loose," he explained. "We'll get it tightened when we can, but it should hold for now." In truth, Douglas had almost forgotten about it. He was more wary of his surroundings than anything else. Percy and Harry were close by. The grimy diesel saw with delight the fear on Douglas's face. "You know," he spoke casually, "me and Bert once had an engineer just like you, Douglas, though they were in a more sorry state. They tried to make a breakaway from here, but not before their tender was detached. Needless to say, they didn't get very far." Douglas tried not to shiver. Percy just frowned. "Well, they say that engine still lurks around," Harry continued, "still looking for their tender, or perhaps intent on stealing someone else's." "Rubbish!" Percy barked. "That's not how it goes. Edward told me that story, and it was a whistle they were looking for, not their tender."
Another
"That's
Scary
not any
Engines
less
reference.
creepy," Douglas muttered to himself. "What would that old iron know?" Harry retorted. "We actually work here and saw the engine. I think we'd know the true story." Percy smirked. "Oh, sure, a diesel who hasn't gone out enough is more believable than an engine who's been around long
Percy
before
not
you
holding
were
back.
thought of." Perhaps it was the red lights, or Harry was boiling with anger. Either way, he hurried off without another word. Later, the goods engine found a line of empty trucks. They were much older than the others, and their brakes were stiff. Once he was coupled up,
Who this
Douglas
youngster is?
puffed furiously, and only moved a few inches. "Come on," encouraged his driver. "Come on, put some more weight into it." Douglas heard him and tried to do as such.
Oh, it's Douglas.
It seemed, though, that he may have put a bit too much strength into it.
Uh-oh.
The fireman saw it coming and had leapt to the cab just in time as a gap opened between Douglas and his tender. He, meanwhile, had shot forward in an instant, but felt right away that something was missing.
Your tender, Douglas.
At that moment, Percy approached with a train of scrap. He took a quick glance at Douglas and screeched to a halt. He stared at the other engine in stunned silence. Douglas could easily see the little engine go completely pale. "Oh, pull yourself together, Percy," he called. "It's
Don't you
only
realise
me."
your tender's missing?
Percy blinked a few times and felt a sudden wave of embarrassment. "Oh, Douglas," he gasped. "But your tender." He trailed off when he spotted the tender some distance behind the engine. "Faulty coupling," Douglas said, annoyed. "Guess it finally gave up." "I'll ask the foreman if he's got something to use as a temporary coupling," sighed the driver. "We'll just have to be more careful tonight." "Aye, be quick about it. Don't want to be a laughing stock for those diesels." Percy, now more calm, looked closely at Douglas. He had never seen a tender engine without, well, his tender before. He looked very...
The only other time I can think of engines in the show with engines without their tenders was obviously Gordon in Gordon Takes a Tumble, where he lost his tender when crashing through that field and barn. And then the other time, and obviously we had Gordon and Henry swap tenders in It's Good to Be Gordon season 10. And what would be the last? I think that's it. I think that's the only two stories I can remember with that involved, engines with tender engines without their tenders or being swapped around for some reason. But if there's any more examples, like in Railway Series annuals or the TV show itself, let me know in the comments down below.
strange, even a little scary. With that, a sudden thought flew into his smoke box. "Maybe we should try to make them the laughing stock," he chuckled and explained his idea. Douglas was not the sort to play tricks, neither was his twin, but he couldn't resist a grin when he heard the little engine's outline. Harry and Bert met up in the Smelters shed. They hadn't seen Percy and Douglas in a while, and were growing frustrated. "After all that talk of coming to help, they just bloody disappear on us," Harry grunted.
That's not what
"Looks
it is,
like
you
they
two."
couldn't handle such a scary place," Bert laughed. "Oh well, we never needed them to begin with. You'd think the foreman would have known that by now." Just then, the twins heard a strong hissing sound. Their eyes darted about, but they saw no engine. Suddenly, a cloud of steam began to build in the corner of the shed. Within it, they could make out the faint shape of a steam engine.
That's Douglas
It
right
had
there.
no side tank or a bunker, but also no tender. Bert began to shiver. Is that the engine?" "No, you twat," Harry snapped. "We made that story up, remember?" "Then what is it?"
Getting a taste of their own
Harry
medicine.
didn't have an answer. The more the engine sat there, shrouded in smoke, eerily silent, even he began to feel uncomfortable. They were so focused on it that they didn't hear another presence sneaking up behind. And then
Percy.
the twins screamed at a pitch no one thought they could ever reach and sprinted away. The
Wow.
foreman rushed out of his office,
Oh.
only to hear the roaring laughter of Douglas and Percy. Maybe I underestimated them, Douglas chuckled. They're not so sluggish
Wow.
after all.
Not at all.
The foreman didn't quite see the funny side. He spoke severely to all 4 engines that the Smelters was not a playground for childish pranks, whether they be sharing fake stories about ghosts or pretending to be one. In the end, despite the telling off, Douglas and Percy were able to get over it, while Harry and Bert continued to seethe. By the end of the night, all work was done, and the 2 steam engines could leave the dreaded yard behind. They stopped at the junction, where they would split off to their respective branch lines. "Well, all's well that ends well," Percy said. "You were excellent with all that steam." "Aye, and you did great with that whistle of yours. It was well suited," Douglas replied. But then he paused. "Thank you, Percy." "Oh, that's all right. Anything to put those 2 in their place."
Yep.
"I didn't quite mean that," Douglas interrupted. "Thank you for keeping me company back there. It made it easier." Percy blushed. "Oh, you're welcome, Douglas. Well, have a safe trip." "Aye, you too, lad." And with a cheerful whistle to each other, the 2 engines went their separate ways.
That's it, isn't it? Oh, wow. For a random duo challenge story, that really turned out quite well in the end. I thought it was going to be a really creepy story, but it was spooky, it was. But wow, that prank that Percy and Douglas pulled of Harry and Bert right there. It's about time those twin diesels got a taste of their own medicine with all the tricks they're doing right there. I mean, this kind of does feel like, maybe foreshadowing the events of Love Me Tender in the CGI series. So yeah, I mean, we already knew how good Percy and the Scottish Twins dynamic was, in in season 6's Percy and the Haunted Mine. So yeah, I kind of knew what to expect, and obviously we had that shot from season Rusty to the rescue from season 4 of them together interacting with Rusty. So yeah, this was just a really nice story, and I hope Narrow Gauge does more of these like this, as long as he can make a good story out of all of them. Damn, although 2 characters that get chosen, he makes a good story out of it. So yeah, that was a great prank that they pulled on right there. I mean, Douglas losing his tender was pretty funny. It was not funny, but it kind of is funny when you look back on it on retrospect, and because it led to a great prank it did. So yeah, let's just hope that Douglas does no one loses tender again. Though I say that, we would know that would happen in the future, wouldn't it? So yeah, it wasn't exactly a spooky story to start off, but I think we're going to slowly build up to the more spookier stories. We are. This was just a little bit of a starter. It was, and trust me, as we go through this month, lots more spooky stories are coming your way. You do want to see my previous Thomas Rex and audio studio trains adaptation. I'll have a play this up on the top right corner of your screen right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like with me. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought this video I reacted to. Also let me know in the comments down below what other videos you want me to react to next. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. Links to both of them will be in the description down below. Share this video, subscribe if you're new here, ring the bell to get notified. Open new videos and I post the community tab, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!